So it's faith-based. So you're involved with faiththeism, not atheism, right?
It was that you said that, a lot of Christians, they maybe text or they maybe email you, and, they was pretty much scared of you. And I said, oh, okay, a challenge, okay.
No, I believe the Bible, but I don't believe the Bible is saying that slavery is okay because it gives instructions about how to handle slavery. Andrew, that's faith. You just said you accept evolutionary theory. So that's faith. You got faith in a theory.
By any chance, are you gay?
What do you think about Battletoads?
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew Garber, and I'm the host of the Atheist Roundtable podcast. You can find the Atheist Roundtable on iTunes and all other podcatchers that are out there these days. I broadcast live at 11 p.m. on Sunday nights Eastern Time on Blog Talk Radio, so if you're ever awake and you're bored on Sunday night at 11 p.m., feel free to come and join me on the Atheist Roundtable podcast. It's a live call-in show, and I'd love to hear you call in sometime and be a part of the roundtable. I want to send a big shout-out to the hosts of the second Atheists of Facebook online convention. I'm thrilled, just freaking excited to be here. I'm so happy that you guys invited me to be a part of this great event. Thank you to Adam Collins. Adam actually joined me on the roundtable to promote this event, so thank you to Adam for being a part of my show and just being a great and awesome guest there. My topic tonight is going to be atheist parenting, or really more parenting as an atheist, okay? I've got two kids. I've got an 11-year-old son, Corbin. I have a 7-year-old daughter, Zoe. And these two guys keep me busy all the time. They know I do a podcast, and they like to talk to me about the kinds of things that I'm interested in, and I'm always interested in hearing their ideas. In fact, when I told Corbin that I was going to be doing a presentation to you guys on the topic of atheist parenting and being a family of atheists here in my house, he had to be a part of it. He had to join in. And so I've got a few minutes of Corbin giving his ideas on atheism. And I think I'm just going to open this up with his few minutes. So here we go.
Hello, everybody. Peoples of the second Atheists Facebook program. Today, I am going to be discussing on the subject of atheism. I am different from other kids. I think about things, topics that they hardly ever think about. Those include politics and atheism. This gives me a different perspective on life, the universe, and everything. AKA 42. Did you get that reference? I certainly do believe that God has a very unlikely chance of existing. But that not even closely amounts to the amount of hatred I have for God. God is a character. I absolutely hate him for multiple reasons. One, he forced, I think, Abraham to kill his son. I mean, who would force anybody to kill someone else? Now, God, he created us, and we are on earth. And when we die, according to Christianity, obviously, we go to heaven. Do you see the problem with that? We have to live on this earth, on this flawed and awful earth. Yes, there are good parts of life, but there are also bad parts of life. Listen, God, why don't we when we were born, we're in heaven. Everything's happy-go-lucky, perfect world. We have to sit through 70 to 90 to maybe even 100 or even more years of this life. Why not? Why not live on heaven? Was it just because of Adam and Eve taking orders of someone who you think is evil? He has the power to defeat the devil. He has the power to kill Satan. If he is all loving, if he's all caring, all mighty, all powerful, problem of evil. The problem of evil is one of the main reasons why I think God is a bigger than Satan, than Lucifer. Conclusion. God, you need to fix our society. You are the reason that life is this painful, stressful, and I know it's some parts good, but it's the good and bad that makes us together in this weird world. But I'm running out of time. Okay, thanks. Bye. Bye.
Hey, that's Corbin. That's my kid, right? You can kind of see a lot of me reflected in him, right? I mean, we're a father and son, to be sure. I just am always conscious of the repeating, of the parroting that my son will do, because I'm his dad and he wants to be like me, and that's okay. One of the things I wanted to say about that video, though, is that, you know, here at my house, we don't believe that words have magical powers. Okay, we don't think that there's any incantation that can be said that's going to have any kind of voodoo kind of effect in the real world. And so here in the house, we'll allow Corbin to use colorful language, and that kind of snuck into his bit, but that's okay. That's all right. That's no problem at all. You know, I really liked that. I've never talked to Corbin a whole lot about the problem of evil, but he's thought about it himself. And without my prompting, he's even figured out that if God can take the credit for all the good things, then God should be able to take the responsibility for the bad things. We can all kind of see the bad things around here, and so I really think it's kind of cool to hear his perspective on the problem of evil and why it's a problem, and why it's a problem for the existence of God. If you liked Corbin, if you liked what you saw of my son, you might want to go and check out his YouTube channel. He has a YouTube channel under his name, Corbin Garber. He does a lot of product testing there. And I like product testing for kids because I want to introduce my kids to critical thinking. I want them to hear claims, okay, and then test them to see if they hold up to scrutiny, okay? And I think that a great way for kids to do that, for anyone to do that, is to go and look at the advertisements that we see all the time. We are bombarded with advertisements. And all of these advertisements make claims about products, and some of them are true and some of them are not true. And how do we test it? Is it a good test? Is it a bad test? What kind of things can we do? And so I like the way that he works these things through for himself. And as you can tell, he's a great performer. He's really good at it. So I like to encourage him to do that. And I encourage you to go ahead and check out Corbin's product testing at Corbin Garber on YouTube. You know, my daughter, on the other hand, Zoe, she's only 7, and she's just coming out of kindergarten, and she really couldn't care less about religious claims. The thing that kind of gets me is that she's still very unfamiliar with a lot of this religious speak. Okay, she's still very unfamiliar with a lot of the terms and the language and the usage of the words in this religious context. And I want to talk about that a little bit later. But I want to just give a quick example for Zoe because she's not going to make an appearance in this video. I just kind of want to give a quick example of something that she'll ask me. We'll read a story about 10 little ladybugs sitting on a branch, and then they count down from 10 to 9 to 8. And then there are 7 little ladybugs staring up at heaven. And every time we get to that part, Zoe will ask me, "Hey, Daddy, what's heaven?" And I'll tell her, well, heaven is a place that some people think you go when you die. And that is all the explanation that she wants or cares for, and we're on to the next set of ladybugs. Or we're on to the next Pokemon, for that matter. We seem to be big Pokemon fans these days. Real quick, back to Corbin. And a quick plug for my show. Corbin actually joined me on the Atheist Roundtable about a year ago, so you can search my archives for a 10-year-old's perspective on atheism about a year ago. There, we were talking about then reading the Bible. I was talking to Corbin about reading the Bible because he wanted to know what's in the Bible. People take this book really, really seriously. And if they take it really seriously, then it's a good idea to know what's in it. And my problem has always been that I don't find the Bible to be child appropriate. I don't find things in the Bible to be appropriate for kids. I mean, I just don't. The stories in Genesis, I mean, you don't have to get any further than Genesis 6 with the story of the Great Flood. That is just a bad story once you start to think about it. And you can tell by watching the video of my son that he's going to think about it. And so I don't want to introduce those really nasty stories. Hey, if you have an idea of how I can present the Bible to a kid and have it be child appropriate and be honest about the real content of the Bible at the same time, you let me know, because I would love to know how to do that in a way that's not going to freak the kid out and still present the information, the content of the Bible in a real and honest way. Corbin and Zoe would often go and visit their grandparents. My wife's grandparents, this would be their great-grandparents, but we call them Granny and Grandpa. So if they were watching our kids on Saturday night and they were sleeping over, you could be assured that on Sunday morning they were going to take the kids with them to church. And I don't have a problem with that. That's okay. That's good. In fact, you can tell that I'm not shy about talking to my kids about religion. But I can't talk to my kids about religion without my bias coming through. I can't talk to them about a talking donkey without getting this look on my face like, and it's a talking donkey. And people think it's real. I can't do it in a way that a believer would present this same story. Okay, so I have no problem with them going to church, and I want them to go to church so that they can hear these stories as best they could ever possibly be presented, right? By people who have an interest in presenting them in a good way, right? That's what I want. I want them to hear the stories in a way that is the best possible way that they can possibly be presented. And I want them to hear the stories from people that they know are not crazy, they're not weird, they're not lunatics, they're normal, sane, reasonable, rational, logical, compassionate, good people that they know. And they just believe this set of weird things, and they hold them out here away from reason and logic. Okay, I want them to see that. And I want them to know that believers are not crazy. I want them to know that believers are not weird or strange or just people out there that do weird and believe weird things. I want them to know that believers are in their family. They're people that they love and people who love them. I need them to understand this paradox, this juxtaposition of a really bad book giving people decent beliefs, or what they think are decent beliefs anyway. The kids aren't going to church as much anymore, okay? And one day I asked my kids if they were going to miss church, and they pretty much said no, and I'm okay with that. We just came out of the Christmas season, okay? And I don't know why, but for some reason, this idea that atheists shouldn't celebrate Christmas is just bizarre to me. Christmas is fun, okay? Christmas is great. I love Christmas. It's a great time to make my kids happy, to bring us all together, and to just celebrate us being together as a family. It's just fun. It's just great times. Now, to be fair, we don't celebrate Christmas in the normal way, I guess, okay? Have you listened to the Thinking Atheist podcast? If you have, you heard Seth's annual Weird Christmas Traditions from Around the World episode. And the weird Christmas tradition that we've brought into our house and we've been doing for years is the Cagatio, the Tio de Nadal, the Christmas shitting log from Spain or something. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares where it came from? It's a Christmas log that poops Christmas presents. How do you beat that? How do you beat that? I'll tell you how you beat that. You beat it with a stick. That's how you beat that. You literally beat the Christmas shit log with a stick to encourage it to poop your Christmas presents. Okay, and so what we do, we have one in our house. It's right underneath our Christmas tree. I'm not kidding you. And right underneath our Christmas tree, we have one of these logs. It's a little log. It's about yay big, and it's about yay wide, and it's got a little happy face on it, and then it wears a little hat. And when Doctor Who when Matt Smith was the Doctor and it was big in the house, the Cagatio wore a fez and a bow tie. All right, okay. What you do is you put all the Christmas presents under a blanket behind the log. Okay. Then your kids on Christmas morning come to the log, they beat it with a stick, they literally we take an old Christmas wrapping paper log, like those really long toilet paper rolls, right? We give each one of the kids one of these. They whack it until you can't whack the log anymore with it, and then you remove the blanket, revealing all the Christmas presents that the Christmas log just pooped. The kids love it. All right, who wouldn't like a tradition where you get to pretend that a log has pooped your Christmas presents? I can't think of anybody. I like this because I can see the Christmas log. Okay, I can see it. It's right there. It's underneath the tree. I can touch it. I can dress it up the way I want. If I want to dress it up like Doctor Who, I can. I'm not giving the credit for all the Christmas presents that I went out and bought and paid for to some dude who broke and entered in the middle of the night, right? Stole the milk and cookies, left a bunch of Christmas presents. That's not what's happening. So, I don't know. If you guys want to do Santa Claus, hey, I don't have anything against Santa Claus. I just think that a Christmas pooping log trumps Santa Claus. Just saying. As my kids get older, and as we talk about religion more, one of the things that I really am trying to be conscious of, one of the things that I'm trying to be aware of, is my influence on the way they think. I'm not like a lot of Christians who want to make a clone of themselves, who want to impart all of their own beliefs and ideas to their children so that they can become carbon copies of themselves and take all the ideas that they have and just move them forward. That's not what I want. I want them to come to their own ideas, to their own conclusions by thinking about these things and wondering about them and having these ideas bounce around in their minds for a while. But yet, the scariest day I ever had as a parent was when I realized that my children were going to look to me for the right way to think first. You know what I mean? Like, even if they're going to bounce around ideas, they're going to start with a foundation that Dad is right. And I just think that I always need to be aware of how I present things so that I'm open to being wrong. Okay? I tell my son, I tell everybody, that I never learned anything by being right all day long. I only learn things when I'm wrong. I only learn things when I can be proven to be wrong. When I'm proven to be wrong, it's a good day because I've learned something and I've grown since yesterday. And I think that's the kind of lesson that I want to pass on more than anything. I don't want my kids to think that I'm some kind of authority on truth, right? Religion, in contrast, wants to present itself as the authority on truth, right? They've got the truth locked in a box, and they will give it to you piece by piece as you come back to church and you get a little piece of truth. We're going to dole it out to you, but we are the repository where all truth resides. And I don't want that to be the model that we use here in my house. I want investigation. I want research to be the model. One of the funnest things that we get to do when anybody has a question, whether it's me, whether it's my son, whether it's my daughter, whether it's my wife, when any of us has a question, we all get to turn to each other, look at each other and go, you can Google that. We can all race to a computer or some mobile device and see who can Google it faster, right? Who can find the right answer the fastest. That's a fun kind of game, to see who can go to the internet and research something the fastest. I really, really dig it. I mentioned that my son's 11, okay? I mentioned that my son's 11, and I don't know if it's just me being older, but I'm not sure that I was as aware of the natural changes that were going to happen to my body as I entered puberty. I don't know if I was as aware of that when I was 11 as my son is now. And I certainly didn't have the kind of environment at home where I could ask those questions, where I could have those conversations, right? I mean, who did? I certainly didn't live in a house where I could have those kinds of conversations and they be welcome and open and honest and have good, reliable information. I will never forget the relief that I saw on my son's face when I told him that what he was doing in the bedroom or in the bathroom by himself, taking really long showers and so forth, that what he was doing was natural, that it was perfectly normal, and that everyone does it. There was a sense of a weight being lifted. His entire posture just went, really? It's normal? It's natural? Everybody does it? Yes, absolutely. And I think that's the kind of thing that I want to foster, that I want to grow upon when we move into the later years, the soon upcoming years, when these conversations are going to have to go into far greater detail, and perhaps be a bit uncomfortable for both of us, but they have to happen, right? I don't think that we do our children any favors by trying to hide information from them, right? I think we can all agree that we don't do our children favors when we try to hide information about sex and sexuality, about human physiology, about the kinds of beliefs that their parents hold, that the kind of beliefs that their grandparents hold. I don't think we do our children any favors when we try to mask those ideas. I want my kids to have an idea of what those things are and where they come from, and maybe even why people hold the ideas that they hold, and maybe even permission to question the ideas that everybody holds, dads, grandmas, even the ones they come to on their own. Hey, I'm just a parent. I'm figuring this out as I go along. But I get to do it together with other atheists, with other parents, with other people who are going to be able to support not just me, but my children and the rest of my family as well. And that's what this kind of program is meant to do, is to bring together a community of people that we can all form together. We can bring each other friendship and camaraderie. It's a great and wonderful thing that's happening here on the Atheists of Facebook online convention. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you so much for listening to me babble on for this time. Again, my name is Andrew Garber, and you can find me as the host of the Atheist Roundtable on Blog Talk Radio or on iTunes. Go and check out my son's YouTube channel. His name is Corbin Garber. Thanks so much. And remember, God isn't here. We are. Take care of yourselves. Like the fan page for the Atheist Roundtable at /Atheist Roundtable on Facebook, or find your host at /Andrew the Atheist. Send all of your email to andrewtheatheist@gmail.com. This podcast is the official podcast of atheists, humanists, and agnostics of the Wabash Valley. Find us on Facebook for monthly meetups. Music for this episode is provided as always by Dick Richards. Thank you, Dick. God isn't here. We are. Take care of yourselves.